Hey guys, and welcome to another processing example at Let's Image. My name is Philip and you can find me at Twitter at Let's Image. Now, today I'm going to show you how I processed this image from the Louvre, from one of the smaller pyramids. And it's actually pretty cool. So I'm going to show you how I removed people in the image, how I made the sky a little bit more interesting, how I made the building a little bit more interesting, how I removed all that little cigarette crap from the ground, and how to remove noise in Photoshop as well, which is super cool. Especially because this function is a built-in function, so there is no need for any, expensive plugins or whatever. Good, so let's jump right into Photoshop and I'm going to show you how I did that. Okay, so first I'm going to show you what I'm planning on doing. So for that, I'm just going to grab a new layer by clicking on the new layer symbol down here in the corner and get your brush, or I get my brush with a really nice and obvious color like red. So in this image, we have a lot of leading lines, and I do like leading lines. They're awesome. And we have actually more than we can see with the bare eyes. So obviously we have the leading eyes from the pyramid leading all towards the middle. Okay, and then we have the castle in the background if you want, which goes towards the middle as well. And the cool thing is with this sky, so that's why I have chosen to blue actually the sky a little bit out, is that there is a white part which is completely washed out here. And with a little bit of adjustment, we can get that to be another sort of curved leading line, if you want, towards the middle as well. And that's actually kind of awesome, because then the eye will most likely start on a very bright point. For example, the sky will go down to the middle, and from the middle, either left or right, towards the building, which I'm planning on making really golden and really shiny. And then we have the pyramid, where the eye can go down and then following whatever lines. And we're going to enhance the reflection in the sides of the pyramid as well, and then give the ground here a really nice grungy feeling, or a grungy texture. Good, so that's what I'm planning to do, and let's do that. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, first I want to start with a little bit more contrast. So I'm just going to click on my brightness and contrast adjustment here and just increase the contrast as much as I like. In this case, I'm going to go quite high. We can always dial that back a little bit later if we have to. Probably I should mention that I'm working on my background layer in the moment, and normally I'm not doing that, so I'm just going to click on it and press Command and J, which is going to duplicate that layer so that I have my background layer safe. In case I'm messing something up, I can always go back to it and restore details or get my normal original colors back, whatever I want. Now that I have made a copy of that, which is here, background copy, I can just go back to my brightness, and I can say just do the adjustment for the layer beneath by doing this little, by clicking this little symbol here. Okay, once that is done and I'm kind of happy with the contrast, I'll go to levels, and the first thing I want to do, I want to take care of the sky a little bit. So what I would like to do is I would like to make the dark clouds a little bit darker and the light areas, or the bright areas in the middle here, just a little bit brighter. And you can use curves for that, you can use levels for that. In this case I'm going to do levels, and I'm going to again tell the adjustment layer just to work on the copy of the background I have just made. And I'm just going to drag around these sliders a little bit. I'm going to stay in my RGB section if you want. And if I move the middle part to the right, it's actually going to make darker parts a little bit darker, which is nice, and then move this one a little bit to the left, and that is kind of cool. If you do it too much, it's going to look ridiculous and you're going to blow out everything, but if you keep it simple and easy, yeah, that's going to be nice. And at the end I'm going to blur the sky a little bit anyway, so there's no problem if it looks a little bit weird or if you get noise. And by the way, in this particular image I'm having a lot of noise anyway, because it's a tone mapped image. So normally I would take 3 different exposures to create an HDR version. In this case, the light was so low that one image was indeed enough to capture all the light which was there. And if you tone map a single image, then you most likely get noise. But there's a really nice function in Photoshop to get rid of noise, and I'm going to show that later. For now, I'm quite happy with the sky, but I don't want the effect to be everywhere. So what I will do, I will just hit Command and I, having the levels adjustment selected, which will basically hide this adjustment layer. And if I choose my brush then, I can, with an opacity of 50%, at least that's what I'm doing normally, I'll just start to brush through where I would like the effect to be visible. And as the effect was made for the sky, I'm just going to brush through the sky. There you go, nice and dramatic. Could even enhance it a little bit, but you get the idea. So now that I'm more or less happy with the sky, I'm going to put my attention towards this building in the background. So here in this case, the colors are quite blown out, and it actually has no real color, does it? I mean, it's a little bit yellow, you know, That's about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer by clicking the new layer symbol down here, and I'm going to hit Command or Control Alt Shift and E, which is basically gonna copy everything you can see in this very moment onto a new layer, which is kind of cool. And now I'm going to play with colors, and for that I'm going to use my curves this time. I'm going to tell the curve tool or the curve adjustment layer, please do just work on that layer I have just created. And instead of RGB, I will go to my red channel and I will lift up the curve for my reds, something like that. And then I'm going to take out a little bit of blue, which generally creates yellow in an image, which is awesome. I even could go to my green and just decrease my greens a little bit, which will give it a little bit of a red touch. Don't want to do that too much, otherwise it just looks really bad. So that's the first thing. Then I'm going to increase my contrast a little bit more. Don't worry that the effect is applied everywhere in this image in this moment. We can worry about that in a second. That's the wrong adjustment layer. I said contrast. There we go. So I'm going to increase my contrast. That's very nice. And yeah, I'm happy with that. So what you can do, first of all, we should tell the thing just to work on that layer. And then you just select both adjustments or however many adjustments you have, and you group them using Command and G. And once you have grouped them, you can give them a layer mask by clicking on the layer mask symbol, press Command or Control I to invert the layer, and then get your brush by pressing B, zoom in wherever you like, and just brush the effect you have just created through with an opacity you like. So I'm going to do that actually quite high. And there's a bit too much red in here. I can see that straight away. So I will change that in a second. I'm just going to brush that through on the building. Brush a bit smaller. Go up to the statue as well. I'm not going to take too long now as an example how I process the image. And if you're doing something like that, obviously you can take a little bit longer to make sure that all the edges are quite clean. So that would be this side. Let's go to the other one. Far too far. Here we go. A bit bigger. And brushing through. We don't worry about the person. I'm going to get rid of the person in just a minute. And down. And brush a bit smaller. Go over the roof. And even on the top of the roof. Down. It's looking good. Okay as well. And there. Cool, you get the idea. Now let's zoom out and have a look how it looks. It's actually not too bad. Yeah, I think I can be quite happy with that. So if you think there's too much red in it or too much yellow in it, just go back to the curves adjustment layer, which is still in here. So if you just open this group again, you still have your curves. And if you wanted to, you can just go back to your red channel here and take out a little bit of the red so that it's not that aggressive. So see, now it's already a little bit more yellow. I'm quite happy with it. Good, so that's that. I'm going to close the group again, and let's do the next step, which is probably removing the person from the image. So here we have the person which we have to get rid of because it's just so annoying. I can't believe it that this person was there. So well, it's a public place. I guess you can do whatever you want. What I will do, I will go to my pen tool. Okay, I will choose my pen tool. I will set it to path, not shape, and then I will make a rough selection around this person. Why am I doing that? Well, because I'm planning on using the clone stamp tool and the spot healing tool to actually get rid of the person. And if you make a selection prior to that, then you will not mess up other things which are not in the selection. So you will just be able to clone stamp within that selection, which is very nice, because then at least you have some sort of reassuring that you won't mess up. No? So now I can just say make selection. I don't want any feather radius, just leave that alone and say OK. Now I'm going to make a new layer as well, and I'm going to, as before, copy everything which I can see in this very moment onto that layer by hitting Command or Control, Alt, Shift and E. Okay, our selection will still be there. And now if I hit S for my clone stamp tool and I select the source like over here, I have no way of clone stamping anywhere else than in my selection, as you can see here. All right, so that's a really, really cool part with that. Now, just going to go back with that. And probably I will have to make a little bit of a jump now because these things, they take a while. If you're not really careful here what you're doing, it's just going to look fake because it can leave sort of a smudge on the ground. It looks like like dirt if you want. And to avoid that, you just have to spend a little bit of time with that. So, but generally I would select my source, for instance here, and then I would just go over here, make sure I align it properly, and just draw the line through. And I'm going to do, or I would do this very, very, very often, just until I have at least some sort of, well, uniformity, I guess, in the selection I have made here. I would go here and do the same. I know it looks really weird in a moment, but trust me, in this case, it's actually really, really good example, or a really simple example, because we don't have to recreate many things other than, well, the ground. And there's a little bit of a building, but even that, no problemo. Same down here. Okay, guys, I guess you don't want to watch me doing that, so I'm just going to quickly jump to the next position, okay? Okay, so I have done the, yeah, let's say the not very fine work. Okay, so the rough work is done. So I still have my selection. Within the selection, the person is more or less gone, but you can see it's quite dirty. And this dirt normally can happen, doesn't have to happen if you take your time. I didn't. But anyway, I'm just going to go deselect, and now you can see that we have kind of a shape around it. And that's not too big of a problem, because normally if you just click J for your spot healing tool, then you just go over these areas, and J is awesome, I think. And it's going to fix it for you. Isn't that awesome? If that doesn't help, no worries at all. Just go back to your clone stamp tool, make it a little bit bigger, select a good source, and then just drag the appropriate texture you have basically before this dirt and make it nice and uniform. So that's the way you can do it. It's not a way you have to do it, but that's the way I do it anyway. Okay, get rid of that. So here on the ground we have still a little bit of dirt and mud left. So if you want to do these kind of things, take your time. I won't do that now because, well, it's just a tutorial and I have finished that picture already. So, but you get the idea, right? So you just keep using your clone stamp tool and J until you're happy enough to say, okay, hey, I can stop processing this area. How nice is that? Okay, and maybe here a little bit. J, there. There you go. There you go. It's not too bad. So you know what I mean, okay? Oops, that was a mistake. Back here. Good. So now that we have gotten rid of the person, we should definitely get rid of these, whatever that is, speakers, or I don't even know what it is. But anyway, they are annoying. So let's try to do it with the spot healing by just surrounding it nicely, filling it, and God, how I love that tool. It is just amazing. Okay, so we have a little bit of mud around the selection we have just made as well. So you could use your clone stamp now and replace the texture from the areas around, or you could even add noise to a new layer and then brush through to get the texture back into the ground. I'm not doing any of those because I don't mind. Remember, I had to zoom in 150% to actually see that something is not completely correct. In this case, I don't mind it. So just select that one. It could be tricky with the pyramid. It is, but not too bad. And there we go. One speaker less. Awesomeness. Okay, and that. Good. Now, and there is another person just in the back there. Good spot. Let's see if that helps as well. Isn't that just amazing? Cool. And another person gone. This tool is just amazing. And there's a little sticker we can get rid of. And before I have seen a little cigarette here. We don't have to have this in the image, so just use the same tool, make it a bit smaller, and get rid of your cigarette. There's another one here. And not anymore. And there's another one there. Not anymore. So you get the principle, you can just remove all these little bits and pieces which are distracting for the eye. I could remove the truck in the background as well, but I'm not going to do that now because I think it is a very lively place, and why not having a truck in the background which is just standing there? At least it's not too distracting. Good, I'm quite happy with that. Just this one thing, there is a little something here, and now it's gone. Nice. Good, let's get some drama to the whole image. So there are a couple of more things I would like to do. For example, I would like to increase my contrast. So I'm just going to click on my brightness and contrast adjustment, make sure I'm just working on the layer where I just removed the person and the speakers or whatever they were, and increase my contrast to something like that. That's not bad. Good. I actually do like that everywhere, but I think the image is a little bit too bright. So I'm going to go to curves, make sure I'm just working on the same layer, and reduce my brightness a little bit to something like that. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Good. Once I have done that, I am going to curves once more, because I would like to have this reflection in the pyramid a little bit more clear. So I will just bring down the shadows a little bit and increase my brights a little bit. That's good. I'm going to hit Command and I to invert that layer and just brush it through where I want it to be visible, which is in the pyramid and nowhere else. Nice. Okay. Now, once that is done, I will create a new layer and hit Command Alt Shift and E once more to paste everything on it. Then I go to Filter, Blur, and Radial Blur. Make sure that zoom is selected, and in this case I'm going to go for an amount of something like 12, and maybe shift my midpoint up a little bit because I don't think it's quite centered yet. I hit OK, and this will transform the image to that. I obviously don't want this everywhere, so I'm just going to create a layer mask, hit Command and I, and brush through where I would like to have this effect to be visible. In this case, somewhere here, which is kind of nice. Okay, at least I find it kind of nice. You don't have to do this, obviously, but I do like it. Good. Once this is done, I would say the last thing we have to do is to crop the image, because you can see it's not completely straight. So I will go to my crop tool, which is here, and first thing I'm gonna rotate the image a little bit to make it completely straight, or as straight as possible. And that was my mobile phone. My apologies. Okay, and something like this. It's not 100% straight, but it's as good as it's gonna get. Once I've done that, I'm just gonna hit Enter. It's gonna think a while because it has to crop all the different layers I have. I could have combined the image before, but I didn't want to. Now, once I've done that, I'm gonna do the same thing again. And this time, I'm gonna just bring in the lower end towards the tip and actually bring down my sky. Just, maybe not. Maybe I actually do leave the sky where it is. Good, it's not bad. Hit Enter. It's going to crop everything. And it still hasn't worked absolutely completely perfectly. I'm going to bring it the lower end a little bit in, something like that. Enter. So basically just that the tip of the pyramid is exactly aligned with the lower end of the image. Good. And once I've done that, that is basically it. That's more or less what I did. Now, when it comes to the noise, what I will do is I will again create a new layer and hit Command Alt Shift and E to paste everything on it. And then I'm going to go to Filter and Camera Raw Filter. That works just amazingly, as you will see in just about a second. So that's where you will end up if you go to this filter. And if you select the third option here, you come to Sharpening and Noise Reduction. And let's zoom in a bit. So you see all that terrible noise here. If you just increase your luminance, you'll see step by step it's gonna disappear, which I do like a lot. Let's detail, make that down. At the end it's a reflection, so we don't mind if it's a little bit blurred in the reflection. Okay, good. So it's removing a lot of detail as well from the building in the background, but that's no problem because I'm going to create a layer mask and just apply the filter where I want it to be visible. Good, let's hit OK. It's going to think for a bit, and if we zoom in, there is no noise whatsoever anymore. That's super nice. As I said, I don't want it everywhere, so I'm going to create a layer mask, hit Command I, get my brush, and just brush the effect through within the reflection. Okay, like that. And make it a bit smaller and go to the sides here as well. Good, like that. Okay, it's quite unlikely that we have noise in the sky because we have blurred the whole thing a little bit. That's kind of nice. Yep, and that's it. Noise is gone. Amazing filter. And you see in the top here, there's just a little bit of, well, whatever it is. It's no problem, just select the layer, hit J for your spot healing, and go along that corner, which I can't do in a moment, which is no problem. I'm just going to create a new layer, paste everything on it, and then I can. Cool, that's gone. And that is it. And that's how I created this image. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If I was too fast in certain places, or if I was too slow in certain places, or if you just have any other question, just leave me a comment below. And yeah, please don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Let's Image. And I guess I see you later. Bye bye.